Hello, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you again. What brings you here again, CPAC?
Well, look, I think it's one of the best places to kind of get all the conservative voices into one area, differing views to some degree, but the idea that everyone is focused on getting those conservative principles on the ballot, moving that forward, making sure that this country embraces kind of its Judeo-Christian roots, but also conservative governance, getting the government out of your life and allowing you to make your own decisions for your family and things like that. So to me, it's very important to come to things like this and watch everyone get together and get excited about the future.
As a press secretary at the Trump administration, and I believe you were also the press secretary for the re-election campaign for Trump back in 2020 and 2021.
Correct.
What was your experience like with President Trump?
Well, look, I mean, he's a fighter. He never sleeps. He's always working for the American people. I mean, here you have a billionaire who didn't have to do this, who didn't need to do this,
That's true.
but wanted to get off the sideline and get in and help the American people. And he'd been talking about some of the policies that he actually implemented as president back in the 1980s, for heaven's sakes. This was something he was always working on. And so he got to be president and then work with Congress and work with all the relevant stakeholders and say, what can we do better for this country? What can we do better for the American people, regardless of race, religion, color, or creed? And sure enough, I think a lot of people in this country right now are looking back going, wait a minute, there's like a whiplash effect of where we were just 2 short years ago versus where we are now. And the current administration overturned all the policies, changed all of the thinking of the Trump administration, and so now it's all their fault. And Joe Biden tries to pretend as though these things are happening to him, but they're happening because of him and his policy. So I think the American people see that, and I think that they are longing for someone like Donald Trump who, look, whether he runs or not in 2024, whether he's a candidate or a kingmaker, the America First policy agenda is alive and well. People want a government that focuses on their needs first. We don't do it alone. We work with our partners and allies around the world, but we definitely want to focus on this country first. And it seems like the administration we have now is a America Last administration. And Donald Trump was tireless in this, and I worked with him for so long, 4 years, and it seems like 25 years. So having done it for just we went to South Korea, we went all over the world and met with a lot of incredible leaders, had some great times, and it's the Blue House, is that correct?
Blue House, yeah.
It was wonderful. Had a meal with President Moon, and it was just outstanding. So we had a good time, and he really built partnerships all over the globe. And as many as people on the left tried to say he can't do this or he didn't know what he's doing, he protected this country, made it a better place, made it safer. We were feared, loved, and respected on the global stage like we've never been before. And you're seeing the fallout of bad policy now, both at home and abroad. And sadly, I think I think this administration's taken this country to a bad place, but I think with proper leadership, we can take it back.
Right. So that reminds me of your visit to DMZ. What was it like with the meeting between President Trump and Kim Jong-un? Because no other president was able to do that. Right?
That's right, and he walked across actually into North Korea as well. It was very tense, obviously, but I think they had a kind of an understanding. And President Moon had told us that, rockets used to fly across from North Korea into South Korea all the time. And he said, since you've been president, they've just stopped. Kim Jong-un understood. If you got out of line, this president was going to put you back in line. And right now, we don't see that. You see problems in China. You see problems in Russia, with Ukraine, all these issues around the world with Mexico and the southern border policy. And so this administration is completely lost on that. Donald Trump understood it. And so when those despots and dictators all over the world had to deal with him, because you have to deal with all kinds when you're the president of the United States, whether you're talking about Ayatollahs in Iran or whether you're talking about Kim Jong-un in North Korea, he understood there was a mutual level of understanding. If I go too far, this president's really going to hurt us. And so I think that was a good thing for this country.
So what's your take on Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan and China's reaction to it?
There are some people who think it's a great idea, some people who think it's a bad idea. I would say for me, it's more of we shouldn't let other countries dictate what we do or don't do. So if China's going to saber rattle, we can't go and talk to Taiwan. That's ridiculous. So we should go right on through there and and let China know, you don't tell us how we conduct our foreign policy.
Yeah.
I think it's a good move that she went. I don't know what she's trying to get out of it. I don't know if this is one of her legacy things, if she knows she's going to lose the House hopefully in November. But even so, I understand at its core, no one should be able to push us around. But it also has exposed a lot of bad policy again from the Biden administration.
Right.
They're on both sides of this. They don't know. They say we're going to let her go. We don't want her to go. But Taiwan isn't independent. I mean, they've made some really bold statements here. Biden said in the past, whether it was Russia or Taiwan, we'll beat back Russia. We'll take out Vladimir Putin. His staff has to walk it back. He says with Taiwan, hey, we're going to come in and fight for them and fight against China. And so everyone's a little nervous right now because there is no clear vision like there was under the previous administration. It puts people's lives at risk.
Yeah, and that affects Korea too in a similar way. Yes,
of course.
And for 2022 election, what's your anticipation for that?
Well, look, I think we're going to see some significant gains. Hopefully we take it back. I think if the Republicans continue down the avenue of focusing on that America First agenda that made us so prosperous in the first place, I think we'll be in pretty good shape. I think we're poised to do some good things in the House in the midterms because, look, the American people are sick and tired of what they've seen for just 2 years under the Biden administration.
How about election integrity side? I know you're the director of the Center for Election Integrity right now.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of states pass some good laws. People want, some of that faith, trust, and confidence in our electoral process returned. You're talking about Florida and hanging chads and dimple ballots we were complaining about then. Now it's mass mail-in and drop boxes. Either way, both sides have been arguing and complaining about the election process for decades in this country. It's time to fix it. A lot of states stood up and said we're going to work to fix it. As our Constitution says, the state legislatures are supposed to do this. They've done that in large part. But governors, albeit most of them on the left, just veto those laws because they don't like transparency. They don't like people to understand what's happening in the election process. That's a sad place to be, but it also goes to stoke fear and concern over the process. And I think people on the right and the left, as I said, have been really questioning some of these things that have been going on. It just depends on who wins. It seems like if the right wins, the left is concerned about election integrity. If the left wins, they don't care about election integrity. But there is a common thread, which is every year we see these illegalities, irregularities, anomalies, fraud, regardless of what measure they are, whether they're enough to change an election or not.
Right.
How much is okay? How much fraud's okay? One illegal vote's one too many in my book. And so a lot of states have done some good things. At the Center for Election Integrity, we've been monitoring these states. About 7 states passed some good laws with photo identification and ending their ballot harvesting laws. There are a lot more states that need to do a lot more work. So hopefully by 2024 we'll have even more laws in place.
Lastly, what's your anticipation for the 2024 election and who do you support?
Well, no one's in yet, so we'll see. But I have to say, obviously, my heart's with the former president. I've worked for him now for 4 years. I saw up close what he was able to do for this country. And, you realize how much policy matters when people's lives are improved, and Donald Trump did that. And so for me, we'll see who all jumps in the race. But in a general election, I think people are clamoring for those America First policies again, which Donald Trump ushered in as being kind of in vogue. So that's good. But it's a long way to go until decisions are made as it relates to who gets in and what they decide to do and what agendas they run on. But as I've said, whether Donald Trump's a candidate or whether he's a kingmaker in the party, the America First agenda is what all of these candidates want to run on, and they want to claim the mantle of being for policies that support the people in this country first. So that's a good thing, and regardless of what Trump does, he got the GOP to embrace those policies, and good for us for doing it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking your time off for this interview.
Thank you so much.